Today, I'll be filming a video on who I think are the top 10 college football coaches going into this season that are still coaching. It, it won't include uh, uh, coaches that aren't coaching in college football right now. Uh, because if it did, obviously Nick Saban would be number one, and uh, Jim Harbaugh would have to be ahead of most of these. But mm, mm, uh, number one mm, uh, is Kirby Smart from Georgia. Uh, so mm, uh, in 8 seasons at Georgia, which those are all the seasons that he's been a head coach. He's went 94 and 16, and his first season there didn't go uh, great. He only went 8-5, but since then, mm, uh, he's taken Georgia to three national championships and won two of them, and they've been really good every year since his first year, and he's gotten them two SEC championship wins, and mm, mm, four SEC championship appearances. Mm, And uh, these past 3 seasons, he's really become a, 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 a top two coach behind uh, Nick Saban, because these past 3 seasons, he's went 42-2, uh, and won two national championships, and uh, his only two losses were to Alabama. Uh, he's the only coach right now that I could see having a chance to ever win as many national championships as uh, Nick Saban has won, because he's so much younger than Nick Saban. And uh, I had thought about putting Ryan Day uh, at two ahead of Dabo Sweeney, but I decided to leave uh, Dabo Sweeney at second, because he's won two national championships, and Ryan Day's not won any yet. Of course, I know that Dabo Sweeney's been a head coach a lot longer than Ryan Day has, mm, but still, mm, uh, I'll just leave it like it is for now. Uh, mm, so Dabo Sweeney mm, has been Clemson's head coach for 15 full seasons. That's the only place that he's ever been a head coach at. Mm, And he was on the coaching staff there for several years before he became the head coach. Mm, but his head coach record is 170-43, and mm, uh, he got Clemson to 12 10-win seasons in a row. That's almost impossible to do. That ended, last season when they went 9-4, uh, and uh, for a while, he had Clemson as uh, mm, the second most dominant program in college football, behind Alabama. Uh, for 6 years, uh, he had taken Clemson to the playoffs every year, and in those 6 years, he went 79-7 as a head coach, which that's amazing. And uh, mm, during that time, he won the two championships, and uh, mm, uh, coached in four national championships. And since then, uh, mm, mm, the the these past 3 years, Clemson's been 30-10, which is still uh, good. Mm, and mm, number three is Ryan Day from Ohio State. So uh, since he became the head coach at Ohio State, he's obviously done a great job. Uh, Ohio State's been really good with him. Uh, he's 53-8 in 5 seasons as a head coach. That's almost impossible to do. Uh, and uh, he's taken them to the college football playoff 3 out of those 5 years, and to the national championship once. Just didn't win it. Uh, and uh, mm, he won the Big Ten Conference his first 2 years that he was their coach, but uh, these past 3 seasons, mm, uh, he's lost to their biggest rival, Michigan, every year, so he's not won the conference. Mm, so that's the really been the only bad thing with him. Uh, but his teams have never lost more than 2 games in a season, which is really good. Mm, And uh, I think that he'll uh, uh, have a really good chance this year to put an end to that uh, mm, losing streak to Michigan and uh, uh, streak of not winning the Big Ten, and also not having a national title. I think he's got a good chance of ending that this year. Mm, mm, And uh, number four is Brian Kelly from LSU. Uh, so he's been a head coach for a very long time, 34 years. Mm, and uh, his record as a head coach is 304 and 108. And uh, mm, his mm, two Power Five head coaching jobs, were at Notre Dame and LSU. Mm, And mm, at Notre Dame, uh, he was 113 and 45 in 12 seasons there. Mm, That's good. Mm, He just never got any big wins really there. He did take them to the college football playoff twice and to the national championship game once. Just never won any of those. And mm, in these 12 seasons at Notre Dame, he got them 10 or more wins in 7 of those seasons. Mm, into a bowl game in 11 of the 12. Mm, And then since he's been at LSU, he's at 20-7 these past 2 seasons, mm, 2 10-win seasons, uh, which obviously isn't easy to do, uh, being in the SEC. Mm, And his best win, uh, obviously, was 2022 against Alabama. Uh, Mm, where they were able to mm, beat them with uh, mm, Bryce Young as Alabama's quarterback, who I think was the best quarterback that Alabama's ever had. They were able to slow him down, Mm, and uh, Jaden Daniels was able to make some big plays mm, uh, to where they were able to win it. And in that game, it went into overtime, and he chose to go for two to try to get the win instead of trying for a, a second overtime. Mm, mm, and it worked. Mm, So he has now proven that uh, he can win big games. Mm, and I think that before he's finished coaching, he'll get LSU one national championship win. Uh, I'll go and tell you that it's probably not going to be this year, but uh, I think sometime in the not very far future, he's going to get LSU a national championship. Mm, And number five, I think, is Mike Gundy from Oklahoma State. Uh, I think he's an underrated coach. You probably wouldn't see him this high uh, on any other lists, but uh, he's really the reason why Oklahoma State is now a decent football program. Before him, they were uh, a program that was well below average. This will be his 20th season as their head coach, and he was on their coaching staff even before that. Uh, and mm, Mm. He's 166 and 79 uh, mm, as their head coach, and that's the only place he's ever been a head coach at. Uh, and he's taken them to 18 bowl games in a row. That's hard to do at a place like uh, Oklahoma State. Mm, and uh, he's only won the Big 12 conference once, but Mm, he's gotten them in 19 seasons, 8, 10 or more win seasons. Mm, mm, he's able to uh, get a lot out of a little. Like at Oklahoma State, he doesn't get those 4 and 5 star players very much. He mainly just gets the 3 star players, but he's able to coach them really well to be able to play like they're uh, 4 and 5 star players. A lot of them are able to. Mm, mm, and mm, another one that I think is underrated, number six, Kyle Whittingham from Utah. Mm, mm, He's been at Utah the exact same amount of time that Mike Gundy's been at Oklahoma State. This will be his 20th season. Mm, And mm, he's 162 and 79 uh, at Utah, so about the same as Gundy is at Oklahoma State. Uh, and uh, he's won the uh, Pac-12 conference twice. It was actually in a row, uh, 2021 and 22. And he's taken them to 16 bowl games in 19 years. And uh, Utah isn't an easy place really to win at. They've uh, only become a consistently good program now because of him, because he doesn't get uh, very many of those 4 and 5 star players either. Uh, mm, mm, he's mainly stuck with the 3 star players, and he's able to get them to play like 4 and 5 star players, like Gundy is at Oklahoma State. Mm, And I know that Utah didn't do as well as they were expected to last season. They only went 8-5, but uh, that's because uh, he was stuck with uh, uh, terrible options at quarterback, with Cameron Rising being hurt. Uh, so with the options that he had at quarterback that were so bad, it was good that he was even able to get them to 8 wins last season. And uh, his teams always play really good lines of scrimmage, Mm. and uh, mm, mm, I think that there's a good chance that this could be his best season at Utah with uh, Rising coming back. And uh, I don't really think that he'll be at Utah uh, mm, very much longer. Uh, Actually, I think there's a good chance that this could be his last season at Utah because he'll turn 65 this season, and he's already been there for uh, so long. I know that Nick Saban coached till he was 72, but uh, mm, Kyle Whittingham's already been at Utah even longer than Nick Saban was at Alabama. Mm, And uh, number seven's Lincoln Riley of USC. So up until last season, Lincoln Riley had always been successful as a head coach. His record as a head coach is 74 and 18 in 7 seasons, which is very good. And in his first 3 seasons uh, at Oklahoma, he won the conference every year and made the college football playoff every year. Just never even won a playoff game. And then uh, mm, at USC, I actually think his job's in danger now after last season because they disappointed by a lot, only going 8-5, and I think he kind of got USC good again too fast because the year before he got to USC they were 4-8, and then his first year there he got them to an 11-1 regular season. So then after that, in just year two, the expectations were already so high. Then, mm, and really, uh, for him, it probably would have been better to have an 8-5 year in his first year there, and then have the 11-win year in year two. Uh, And his problem, is that he's never had even an average defense. And last season uh, was his worst defense that he's ever had, and it's not like he's ever had a good one, so that was pretty bad. He always has a very talented offense and mm, mm, a Heisman type of quarterback, but uh, until he actually starts trying to coach the defense right, he's never going to win a national championship. Mm, and uh, number 8 is Kalen DeBoer from Alabama. Uh, So he's a coach that has won everywhere that he's been. He was at two other places before Washington, but Washington's the only Power Five coaching job, well, head coaching job that he's ever had. And of course, he did really well there, 25-3 in 2 seasons, mm, and making it to the championship game. Uh, Last season, and his record as a head coach is 104-12, which is really good. Uh, he's been a head coach for 9 seasons, mm, and of course, mm, uh, he's not going to win 6 national championships like Nick Saban did at Alabama, but I think that if he's there as long as Nick Saban was, he uh, could probably get them 1 or 2 national championships. Mm, and then number 9 is Dan Lanning from Oregon. Uh, is good as Dan Lanning has been at Oregon. I had to put him below Kalen DeBoer because uh, mm, uh, Kalen DeBoer is 3-0 in 2 seasons against Dan Lanning, uh, and had a better team both years mm, that he was at Washington. Uh, but Dan Lanning, in just 2 seasons as a head coach, uh, mm, is 22-5, which is really good. 10-3 in year one, and 12-2 in year two, and uh, mm, has a good chance to do even better in year three. Uh, mm, he was a defensive coordinator for Georgia 3 seasons before he became a head coach, and he was their defensive coordinator when uh, they had that defense in 2021 that was one of the best in football history. Mm, so he's a great defensive coach and just a really good head coach. And uh, he's young too, so uh, he'll probably be around a lot longer. Mm, And number 10 is Mike Norvell from Florida State. So if you watch the last game that he's coached, you would probably think it's crazy that he'd be on this list. But uh, he has gotten Florida State back to being a good program again. Before he got there, they had just fallen apart to a below average program. Mm, And he coached at Memphis before that, and had some success there. Uh, mm, there he was 38-15, and then he's been at Florida State 4 seasons, and he's 31-17 there, and so overall he's 69-32 as a head coach, and mm, uh, his first season at Florida State didn't go well. He only got 3 wins, and then his second year it didn't go well, but better. He got them 5 wins, and then in year three he got them up to 10 wins, and then in year four 13 wins. So uh, he's been getting them better every year. Of course, it's going to be unlikely that he can improve from uh, last season, but um, he seems to have gotten them to being a consistent program uh, now. Mm, And mm, if you're a Coach Prime lover, you're probably wondering why not only is he not on this list, but why he's not at the top. Because of course he's the best football coach ever because he won his first 2 games at Colorado. Mm, But the truth is, he's nowhere near being on this list. He would be in the top 10 worst college football coaches if I was going to do a list of those. But uh, mm, really, there are some other orders uh, that you could rank these coaches in that I think would be acceptable. But this is just how I feel about it, and that will be it with this video. But I'm gonna make more of the schedule discussion and point spread prediction videos next. But I did like 11 of them in a row, so I thought I'd do this video uh, today. But thanks for watching, and please subscribe. And I'll be back very soon.